Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Professional Lovers channel.
I'm Al.
I'm Patty, and we are the Professional Lovers.
Yes.
And we're back for another Married at First Sight recap conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If this is your first time, welcome. We thank you to all the new subscribers that we've gotten, and thank you to everybody who's been watching and increasing our views. Now, of course, to, big time viral people, nearly 1,000 views is not a lot. But for us,
it was great.
It's a lot. And so we thank you for watching, and those who are sharing it with other people, we appreciate that as well. Mm-hmm. If this is your first time,
like, share, leave a comment.
And just to give you a little background about us, we've been married for 27 years.
27 years.
And we have facilitated couples in the past who are either married or engaged, thinking about getting married. We're even getting ready to talk to, on next Monday, some college students about relationships after school.
Yes.
We've done that for several years. So we enjoy taking what we've learned and taking tips out of our book, Becoming a Professional Lover, and sharing them with you using the lens of Married at First Sight. So if you are interested in building a long-lasting relationship or getting yourself in shape to be part of a long-lasting relationship, then we think you're in the right place. Hopefully you will too. So let's get started. Our first couple, Haley and Jacob, who are trying to feel their way back into getting to know each other.
A comfort zone, so to speak.
Yeah, they've had a little rough patch. And for me, I feel like, and Haley got a chance to say it this time, but I feel like Jacob does a lot of projecting. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of projecting of his own thoughts and his own feelings onto Haley as though they were hers.
Exactly. He comes up with his scenario and he finishes his scenario, assuming what he feels that she is thinking about the situation or feeling about the situation or what she would do in the situation, which basically gives him all of the excuses he needs to not move forward.
And to sabotage himself.
Basically.
Now, yes, she admits to having walls up. Yes, she admits to, being scared. I mean, We've already learned through her friends that she's a commitment phobe.
Yeah.
At the same time, what did you say? That he draws all his conclusions about her without her.
Exactly. Yeah. He comes up with the answer to his preconceived notion of what she would be in his scenario.
Right.
And it never comes out favorably because it's not starting off favorably. So he's assuming that being that we're in this space right now, that it don't get no better than this, and you evidently don't want to be here, or you're not feeling this. I mean, that's like, meeting somebody and saying, how you like me now? I don't know you. I mean, let's take our time and again, they do peaks and valleys, and I can't even say it's peaks and valleys. They move a couple of steps forward and then like jump back down to the bottom of the staircase again.
Yeah.
A couple of steps up and then jump back down. And basically a lot of it, I believe, is his
he's scared too.
Yeah, he is. But I think it's his lack of willingness to just kind of be free and just let it evolve into whatever it's going to become.
Because he's scared. He's been hurt. Now he's talking about, she's really been hurt.
Because it's been so long since.
But he's been hurt too. True. And he uses his baggage as well to predetermine what she's thinking or what her actions mean. and then again projecting that onto her. So
And-
they're sabotaging each other.
And when
In a
you're
way.
that much older, you get
Yeah.
more set in your ways and your belief system. And, you feel a particular way about certain scenarios that you think you've seen before. Whereas as young as she is, yeah, it's new to me, but I'm willing to try and see what this is about. I mean, again, she wants to live life. I think he just wants to continue living life, if you can understand that. I mean,
Well, he wants to continue the way he has been living life.
yeah, he wants to be in his comfort zone.
Yeah.
He wants everything
Yet,
to be...
let's give him kudos.
Mm,
He let her dress him.
what, he accepted the clothes that she got
And
for
he
him.
said he liked them.
Yeah, he would like anything.
Not
He'd like a turtle.
necessarily. Why do you say that?
Because he hasn't had anything in the last 30 plus years. He's still stuck in the 80s. I'll guarantee that he's got stuff in his drawers that if they don't have holes in them, they are almost as old as she is.
Well, I'm giving kudos for the little itty bitty steps. He let her dress him. He modeled the clothes for her.
He ain't even had fun doing that. He had some silly remark to say about...
Does he have fun doing anything?
That's the whole problem.
Everything is like he's having a hard time letting his face smile because I might like it too much.
Exactly. I mean...
Well,
a serious relationship does not mean that you have to be serious all the time. And we'll revisit that with somebody else in a minute.
yeah. So the last thing with them, he said he's not a big, what did he say? He's not a big actions guy.
Yeah.
And
That might be why you buy yourself.
I'm gonna address that from our book.
Mm-hmm.
With the tip that says daily demonstrate your love for each other.
Yeah.
That behavior is just as important as words. Now,
sometimes even more so.
does that mean he has to, send flowers every week?
Mm-mm.
No, but you can do it once.
Yeah.
Or you can, as Ryan did, you can learn what she feels loved through,
Yeah.
and that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have to do.
Yes. Doing...
You have to do.
True. Faith without works is dead too.
Right. So, moving into Clara and Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
Clara's having some problems with patience. And Ryan is having problems, again, letting go.
Yeah.
And just, everything
Enjoy.
is so calculated.
Too calculated.
And so,
Boring.
yeah. And Clara's a little, she's freer.
Yeah.
And it's getting harder and harder, I think, for her to...
And just like she has constantly indicated that she falls in love. She wants more of a reason, especially with her husband, to become closer to him.
Now, when they were talking, using those love questions, and asking each other, what does love mean to you? Or different love questions that the experts had sent. And she said that for her to be able to when she knows she's in love is when she feels like she's being heard. And of course, all the love questions made him feel awkward
at best.
And but he did say that for him, love is about earning his trust, and that takes time and that takes patience. Because for him, love is like way. To say I love you means you are at the top. And
it's unfortunate that he puts love on a pedestal. Because I think he thinks it's a ethereal feeling that you somehow eventually
you have
feel,
to
you
have to evolve
rise
up to
it.
and rise up to that, and when you get there,
You'll know it.
you're at the pinnacle. It's a little unrealistic of an expectation.
Well, that's someone who has never. Well, I can't say never, but
He says he's never.
Well, no, not being in love. I'm talking about having relationships.
Oh.
And going through the ups and downs of what a relationship entails.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, learning someone and going through the good times and the bad and still sticking through it and realizing that it takes work. Mm-hmm. It takes effort and it takes compromise. As calculating as he is, just for the heck of it, just write down the equation. 2 + 2 = 7. Makes no sense because it's not supposed to make sense.
Okay, I was scared for a minute there because you're the mathematician. I'm like, I hope he's making a point with that.
But I'm saying everything doesn't have to have a reason or a purpose or a meaning or.
Well, but he's all about purpose.
Yeah,
because when they went to the donut dinner, which I thought was very cute, he was talking about love languages and everything, and Clara, loves donuts. He remembered that. And he, created a donut dinner, and then he started talking about what motivates him, which went into, into what she felt was a lecture for. And then she threw shade at him, which I thought was not necessary.
I don't think it was necessary either, but I looked at the clip before she even said that. I'm like, that's all she's doing. She was eating because that was the only comfortable thing for her in that scenario to do. Mm-hmm. And she literally had there were 2 plates of donuts there. And she was eating all of them. Now, if that's not frustrating for anybody, I mean, I read into that situation that she was doing the only thing that was going to give her any kind of joy. And she knew it was the bad thing to do.
At that point. Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll get over their little hump, because they feels like they're kind of going backwards. But I do appreciate the fact that he was using her love languages of gifts and was it gifts of service? Was it service and getting gifts, receiving gifts? Yeah. And that is a direct example of loving your spouse his or her way.
Yeah.
Yes, learning to love your spouse his or her way.
Let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
Because I don't think that people really understand that.
Okay.
We talked about love languages and whatnot, or we touched on it, but loving your spouse their way is loving them in the way that they receive love and prefer to be loved.
The way they define it.
Right.
The way they perceive it, the way they receive it.
As opposed to what love to be for you. Mm-hmm. You could be the most giving person in the world, but what if they like to give too? Mm-hmm. That could be their love language of being sacrificial and giving constantly, and they're always receiving. Yeah, they like it, but that doesn't make them feel any better because you're not giving them an opportunity to do what they do for you, and or allow them to love or receive love in the manner that they receive it. So.
And it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, and adjustment.
An adjustment to love your spouse their way and not your way. Because our natural way of thinking is to think from our perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the process.
It is a true
process.
Yes. You took the words out of my mouth. A true process. So I give Ryan kudos for that. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, again, they'll get over the hump to start moving forward.
I'm wondering if she just needs to jump his bone.
Well,
they're married.
Yeah. she could try that.
Because I think there's a certain, I think there in Ryan's situation, I think that that's a certain level of vulnerability that he's not accustomed to in giving of himself. Because in this case, you know, it's unique. It's almost the tides being turned where she's frustrated.
Yeah.
You know, and usually it's the man that's frustrated. And you know, he might need to open up and or he might need to show a vulnerable side of himself by, I guess, maybe having it drawn out of him. I don't know.
Well, you already said she just needs to jump his bones.
Hey.
And if he accepts it, then hey. If not, that'll be a whole nother episode.
It'll probably make her feel a whole lot better.
That's if she even gets to that point.
True.
Without getting stopped.
But it's an option, ladies, if y'all are in this thing together.
So, we move on to the next couple. And we ain't going to spend a lot of time here.
No.
Because there's no need. Paige and Chris.
That's enough.
His buddy, Pastor Dwight, reached out to her. They had a conversation. And he said, he threw out scripture to her that she should have paid attention to and just used from that point on. That a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Now, had she just listened to that, when Chris came back a-calling, asking for a conversation,
Click.
For what?
Click.
She should have just said,
Click.
no, thank you. Nothing else to talk about. I'm done.
Which she did say.
But she went.
I know.
And even after getting up and telling the producers, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. She goes back and he starts with the double-sided words. And what happens?
Let's start all over.
She gets sucked in.
She said it. She initiated it. Well, let's have a clean slate. There's no clean slate.
So at this point, he's of course ready to cut Dwight off because he talked to Paige and didn't come to him first. Everything he talked about was once again from himself. And now she's getting what she's allowing herself to get, and that is to stay in a state of confusion. And the very next principle, after we just talked about love your spouse his or her way, is loving your spouse your way is selfish. The end.
Next.
Did you have anything else you want to say?
No.
The end. All right, Virginia and Erik. So they've been having kind of a little breakthrough, I think.
Yeah.
Because she actually opened up about her fear of rejection and abandonment, the fact that she has not seen...
only experienced that from her surroundings.
Well, that's all she's seen.
Right.
She did not have an example of a good, solid, long-lasting marriage.
Right.
All she has seen is breakups and divorces. Although she said that her sister and her sister's partner had been the best example of commitment and love and relationship that she has seen. So, you know, she admits that when she begins feeling connected to someone, she's a runner.
Yeah, she runs. But got papers, can't run.
And we were talking about whether or not, you know, he keeps questioning, why did you do this? Why did, if you're not sure about marriage, if you have abandonment issues or rejection issues, or you're a runner, why married at first sight? And
I get the feeling he's looking for something in particular from her, or maybe he's just wanting her to be honest with herself. But I think the more that he displays his openness toward her and his availability toward her, she becomes a little bit more
secure.
Yeah, and receptive to his availability. You know, because sometimes when things are available, you just push them away because you ain't accustomed to it. But I believe he's even with the question, and he's asked it a few times. You know, because after a while, I think I'd even kind of be tired of why you keep asking me the same question. But I think with his efforts behind the questions, it's kind of breaking down some of her barriers and some of her preconceived notions of other relationships that she's familiar with. You know, and not inserting those possibilities into her own.
But I also think she answered the question, because she said, I figured that doing it this way, you already start with commitment. Because you're getting married.
Yeah.
This is not just a dating scenario.
Right.
So you already start this relationship with a commitment to be in it.
Mm-hmm. True.
So that has kept her from running.
Yeah.
Along with, you know, all you just said about him showing her that he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And although it did sound like when he was talking about dating girls, comparing them to his past love, which is his ex-wife, you know, she got a little nervous with that.
Yeah. Well, it took him a little bit to eventually explain that was what his feelings were at that time, right, as far as relationships went through his experience or his limited experience at that time. That was the most he had felt. But
now he knew that there was more
exactly,
to it.
Exactly.
And so they ended their little, they ended their
date night
connection in this episode using the L word.
Yes.
I love you.
Yeah.
So, and then there's Brianna and Vincent, who gave us an up and a down.
Well, believe it or not, I compare that to a heart monitor. When a heart monitor isn't going up and down, what that means? You flatlining.
Yeah, but his downs are really in his own head.
They are.
His downs are in his own head.
And that you have to understand. Well, to me, I believe that you have to understand when people have been committed to certain things and focused, and you have a tunnel vision and, you know, being successful or whatever the case may be, and that's all you've been doing. When it comes down to stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing things that you have no clue of, and it's already been shown that he does not like to be vulnerable, and that's what it comes down to. I believe, in my opinion, he doesn't like to be vulnerable.
Okay, but vulnerable just means exposing yourself to
embarrassment.
No.
Well, no. Well, that's
the possibility.
Right. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's about exposing yourself to the possibility of embarrassment, or, you know, you
discomfort.
That's
why she's the communicator.
Yeah.
She understands words.
So yeah, and that he does have a problem with that, but it's really because of
It's
his own insecurities.
True.
And that's what it is. His own insecurities and how he thinks he looks.
Well, and also it's relating to what I had said when we first started this particular episode, that a serious relationship does not mean that you're always serious. And he is so serious about everything that they do. Not to say that he doesn't try to have fun.
Well, he's a little bit more jovial than Jacob.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not trying to compare.
And he's a little bit more jovial than Ryan.
But his seriousness about
how he looks.
But how he looks in the relationship. How he looks in the eyes of his woman. Right.
But it's his eyes.
Yeah. Which is not her eyes.
Right. It's not her eye. Again, projecting his own thoughts onto her.
And it's unfortunate.
Like when they were dancing. Now, he went out and got her a bike. because he remembers her saying
Mm-hmm.
at the wedding, now this is 3 weeks later, that she wanted a bike.
Yeah.
She remembers him saying that he wants to learn dancing. So she books a class for them.
She was pumped about his bike.
But instead of enjoying it for what it was, he became a downer.
He started sweating
because of his own
preconceived notion
of what she must be seeing him as because he's not doing well.
And that's unfortunate.
It was really unfortunate
It
because
really,
it didn't have to go there.
Yeah.
He made it much more than what it was.
Yeah.
And then turned what was supposed to be something fun for the two of them into something that was just not fun. And into an issue. He turned something fun into an issue. Mm-hmm. But it's his issue. Now, there's the reality. It's his issue. Yeah. It's not hers. And she is going to have to learn how to deal with that.
Yeah. And in my, even as they were going through it, my immediate question that I wish she would have asked is there any type of dance in particular that you like or would want to, Because
he did say to the camera.
Macheta or a different style of dancing.
Right.
And, Dominicans are different than Puerto Ricans and, there's a lot of different versions.
Here's my stereotyping. How come he doesn't know salsa?
Because it's a stereotype in your mind.
Every Latin person is supposed to know some salsa.
That salsa you put on chips.
No.
No, I know that, but there's all different types of
I know.
Latin dance.
I said it's my stereotype.
Yay.
But
again, I think that would have just kind of
diffused some of his feelings.
His angst. Because,
yeah.
Again, he was just feeling uncomfortable because it was just that new to him. But it really
wasn't that deep. It was just the two of them. Now, if you were in a class full of people who everybody was doing good and you were sticking out, I could understand that discomfort. But it's just the two of you. But again, it's his insecurity. But let's end it on a light note. In their uptime, they both used the L word.
Yes.
They both said that they loved each other. So that's cool.
They're gonna be fine.
It's the like you said, it's the heart monitor, up and down, up and down.
It doesn't have to be so rigid in the up and down. It can just kind of flow like water.
Yeah, and it will. We have faith that it will get there.
Yeah.
And so there you have it. We've gone through everybody. We've given our tips, and we hope that will hold you until next week. When we are back, same time, same place. So, what do we always say? Stay safe. And we'll see you next week. Right. Oh, yeah. Peace.
Enjoy.